welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Leslie, and today we are showcasing a brand new product from Not Too Shabby Shop, and it is their clear stamp, A Little Sunshine, and it coordinates with the One and Done sentiment die strips. These are both created by Teresa. She designed them, and usually if you've seen some of the card fronts in some of those packages that you've been getting monthly, you see that die coordinates with those, but now there is also a stamp set that goes along with that die. So the stamp is brand new out today, so definitely check the description box below so you can get your hands on it as well. So I'm going to start out by stamping this lovely sentiment stamp. I'm using Versamark ink because I want to emboss it with white powder. Don't do what I do. You're about to see how many times I had to press on this because I wanted to use a light touch so that I didn't smush the words, but my Versamark ink needed to be re-inked for sure, so it took me several times to get a good impression. It does not actually take that much. I've use this with black ink, with blue ink so far. I have a collection that I'm starting to acquire here. Those went much smoother than my Versamark ink. The reason I had to do it so many times with that was because it needed to be re-inked, but it still ended up working out, and this actually came out beautifully. I'm just using some white embossing powder here and then tapping off all excess. As you can see, I didn't quite get my static powder everywhere, so I do need to wipe some of it off here and just keep tapping some of it off. And then I'm going to go ahead and funnel my powder back into its little container. This is how I always do it. I just have a piece of scrap copy paper that I have folded, and it works every time so far. And then get that put away, warm up my heating tool, and get to embossing. I love watching embossing powder melt. I think it's so cool and so fun just to kind of be able to see in real time what it looks like as it melts. For the most part, this came out really, really well. I think the only sentiment that is a little hard to read for me is the very last one, and that's more user error than the stamp, of course. That's just because I was starting to press really hard with the stamp and that Versamark ink, and I should have just re-inked my ink there, and it would have done much better. So I mostly use my heating tool from the back, just so it doesn't curl forward as much, and then I just do a touch of little heat in the front. So now we're going to go ahead and line up that One and Done universal die, and I'm just making sure that everything's kind of quite in the middle. You really want to take off your stamp carefully, because if you really pull on it, it'll stretch and then your die won't line up. But that's pretty much any stamp that has a coordinating die, so do keep that in mind. But that actually went through beautifully, and they all came out perfect. So you see, now I have a bunch of sentiments that I can use for card making, and I've actually done this a few times with a few different ones. Like I said, I've done black ink on white. I did blue ink on white because I'm using it for another stamp, another set of cards, and so it's a great way to have in your stash and just be have some quick sentiments for cards. So I'm actually going to go ahead and take that die set, and we are going to actually cut out some of these beautiful papers. This paper is from Not Too Shabby, as well as the Pink Fairy 6x6 pattern paper, and I just went through and cut those as many times as I could get on that 6x6 sheet. So, and then I did color my three princesses off camera. I actually sat down with my husband, and while we watched, I think we're watching One Piece right now on Netflix, so if you're watching it too, you know, definitely let me know. And I just colored to my heart's content while watching an episode or two with him. So I am going to cut my background paper down to 4 by 5 1/4, just so there's a little bit of a white border from my card base all the way around. I want that white to kind of coordinate with the fact that I used white embossing powder on the sentiments, and there's some white in the pattern papers. I just want to coordinate that throughout my card. So like I said, this is release day for Teresa's One and Done stamp set, that A Little Sunshine. There is a hop going on Instagram today. So there's a whole playlist of lots of inspiration for you to check out the stamp set and die. I will link all that information down in the description box below. So this is where I decide, okay, so I want to make kind of a pattern background thing with this. I was struggling to go exactly how I wanted to do it. I wasn't sure if I wanted to kind of overlap them a little bit, and I did like that look, but it just wasn't quite doing it for me. So I did end up letting them have each of their own space. But you can see I really played around with it. This is usually what I do with cards. I have an idea, and then I just kind of go with it. And so it does take me a little bit of time to really line up everything how I wanted it to go. I decided I wanted them to not all be straight down the middle, which you could do that if you wanted to, but I wanted them to have a little bit of funky flow. And so I go up with them, I go down with them, I go middle, just kind of moving throughout the card just to kind of give your eye some more playful movement. But I decided not to have the strips overlap. That way there is no bending. And that way I can put my sentiments on top and my little princess on top and give a little bit more dimension in the card. So if you've gotten the A2 card front packs from Not Too Shabby, several of those lately have been coming with a page or two of sentiments that you could then cut out using the universal one and done die. But like I said, this is the first time that is now a stamp set to go with it as well. And I love this stamp set. It is right up my alley for the cards that I make and donate. They're just very much encouraging, happy to be here sentiments. Like sending a smile, wishing you a lovely day, a little sunshine for you, hope this brightens your day. They're just perfect sentiments for what I use my cards for. They're very encouraging. You could use them for practically anything. You could easily go wishing you a lovely day, happy birthday, or I hope this brightens your day because, you're being sympathetic, or, get well soon kind of thing. This is a great overall stamp set, especially if you're new to the craft. This is a great one to start with because it gives you a variety of sentiments that work for lots of different occasions. And even if you have been crafting for years, this is a great one to have in your toolbox. So I am just using liquid glue for these strips just because I wanted to make sure that I was butting them up against each other really well. And the glue makes sure I have a little bit of wiggle room just in case, because you can see I'm struggling a little bit on that one because I had gotten it off just enough that I needed that glue adhering time to adjust it. So I do have a few extra above into the left hand corner that really came in handy because I realized that I was just one short that I needed to really fill out this card. And then I decide how I want my sentiments. I decided I wanted more than one sentiment for each of my cards today. So I went with at least 2 per card. So sending a smile and wishing you a lovely day. I thought those went really well together. And I like my princess, but I feel like it needs something else. So I did decide to cut out a circle, just using one of my dies in my stash. And I'm going to glue her onto that, just so she has a little bit more of a contrast between her and the background, because the background is beautiful, but she blends in a little bit because we went with the same coordinating color. So that white circle really helps her to pop. And then we're going to use some foam tape for my sentiment strips, and that's how they're going to pop off. Plus I decided to use them a little bit more on the pink shades of pattern paper there, and so they really pop off as well. And if you are interested in anything that you see that I am using today, there will be links in the description box below. They are affiliate links, and what that means is that I get a little bit of a kickback if anyone uses my links, but it's no extra cost to you. It just helps keep my channel going. And also, if you love these princesses that I'm showing here, there's actually 2 stamp sets with princesses, and I just discovered this the other day. And now that second stamp set of princesses is now on my wish list, and I need to purchase it ASAP because they're adorable. And I live in a house with 3 little girls that are all about the princesses, so a lot of their scrapbooks are going to involve these stamps, so I need to get my hands on the other set. So bumping up those sentiments, trying to make sure it's straight there. And that is my final card. I did add a little bit of bling in the corners. You can see in this second card, I used a rectangle die to give a little bit of definition there. I decided to go horizontal instead of vertical. And I used some vellum with that. And then I do have a bunch of leftovers for other cards later on. That third card, I just did the same thing as my first. So this gives you some great inspiration for how to use this stamp set and dies. I hope you check them out down below, and definitely check out the hop going on Instagram today and your chance to see all the inspiration for all the loveliness. I hope you guys have a great day. If you're new here, hit subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss a video. And if you like this one, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. Let me know in the comments which card was your favorite. And I hope you have a great day. Bye.